right. Good morning. Welcome back to the Marketing Thread. I am your host, Todd Schneck, joined by my friend and colleague, Courtney Stewart. Hello, Courtney. How are you? Good to see you.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, it's good to see you too.
Yeah, it's been a while since you and I have had a chance to chat. So, and I'm having so much fun with the Marketing Thread. We're about 4 or 5 episodes into this thing, and it's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot. I'm particularly interested in the discussion that you're going to lead today. I've done a bunch of Facebook advertising, and frankly, I stink at it. So, in reviewing your notes, I know I'm going to learn a lot, so I'm looking forward to it. Before we get into that, though, however, just remind the audience what the Marketing Thread is all about.
Yeah. Okay. So the Marketing Thread is our new video series featuring marketing tips and the newest marketing trends. So our goal when creating this was really just to provide ideas that can easily be added into your marketing plan to help increase your marketing effectiveness. So we've created this collection of really easily digestible marketing videos that address subjects like social media best practices, generational based marketing, media relations, blogging, of course, Facebook advertising that we're going to talk about today, and lots of other helpful marketing tips that will help to promote successful marketing strategies for your business.
Outstanding. Yeah, no, it's been a great series, and I've been fortunate to be part of it because I'm learning an awful lot. So it's been great stuff. All right. Well, I gave a hint a second ago what today's discussion is. It's around Facebook advertising, and my wife and I have our own little family foundation, and so I've done a bunch of Facebook advertising, trying to promote some of those projects and all, and I get some benefits, I feel like, but I don't think I'm getting the full value of that time investment and the financial investment. So I think we're going to learn a lot today from the discussion you're going to lead. So let's get into it. Lead us off, please.
All right. Well, yeah, we will just get started, and hopefully, like you said, it'll benefit you and everybody else watching too. So, in the essence of time today in this video series, we can't take a deep dive into every bit of ad strategy that exists or get into super technical details about every option available to you. And really, unless you create Facebook ads full time, that's your full time job, you don't really need to be able to understand every little option that's available because it does get really technical and detailed. But it is just important to understand the basics, like you were saying, to ensure you're getting the best bang for your buck, to actually getting a return. So, really until today, if your strategy has been to hit the blue boost button that shows up on the post on your page, I can promise you, yeah, see, raising your hand, I can promise you you're not using your budget as effectively as you could be. It works, but there are just lots of other little things that you can do through Business Manager and Ads Manager that are just simple, but will allow your spend to be more effective. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about today is just those the basics so that you are getting the best bang for your buck.
Well, I'm guilty of, hey, I'm being smart and doing Facebook advertising because I'm hitting that boost button.
Mm-hmm. And that's what, everybody does that. Facebook makes it obvious and easy that way, but it does work. There's just a lot more details that are available.
The hood and the tools, which you're going to go through some basics today. It's amazing what you can do with this. I think most people don't have a real clue as to the power at your fingertips with what Facebook makes available here. It's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You really don't have to you don't have to be a professional marketer and be on Facebook all day, every day to be able to do some pretty detailed ads that can be super effective because Facebook does make it somewhat easy, thankfully.
Yep.
All right. So first today, we're going to talk strategy. So Facebook does provide a number of objectives for your ads. So everything from like boosting the engagement on your page, which is what you're doing when you hit the blue boost button, to driving traffic to your website. There are commerce-based goals. So if you have an online shop or a physical retail location, there's ads that are available for you. And really just understanding the various options that are available for the ad types is key so that when you're creating your ad strategy, as part of your overall marketing plan, you know what options are available to you, what you can do, and how it's going to work with your goals. So for example, if your goal is just to reach as many new people as possible to expose them to your brand, you're going to probably want to do some sort of reach or likes ad using maybe a lookalike audience. But if you really want to get people that already know your brand back to your website to either make a purchase or to keep you in the consideration process as they're shopping, you're probably going to want to do like a web click or landing page view ads. And then you're going to want to retarget people that have already engaged with you in some way. So those are just two small examples. So we can go over the options available to you, each one that's there. So you kind of know what ad type you're going to run and what you can do based on what your ad goals are. So the first group of ad types that are available are awareness ads. And these are designed to, you guessed it probably, make people aware of your brand, a current offer or incentive that you have going on, or just whatever your ad is actually promoting. So under awareness, you're going to have brand awareness. These ads are designed to find the people that are just most likely to remember your business and actually be interested. And then reach ads are another form of awareness ads, and they're literally going to be designed to reach anybody and everybody that aligns with the audience that you're targeting. So that's just going to be the maximum amount of people possible, regardless of, whether they're really going to be interested. And then after awareness, you're going to have consideration ads. This is going to include those traffic ads. And in-house here for us, we typically refer to our traffic ads as web click ads, because most of the time we're going to be using those traffic ads to drive people to a specific page on a website, to get them off of Facebook and on to an asset you own. But you can use traffic ads to send people to other destinations, like if you have a Facebook event you've created, if you want to get started having an online conversation with somebody, you can send them to Messenger. There are a couple of other options. And then under consideration, you're going to have your engagement section. And there are 3 different options under engagement as well. So the first one is post engagement, which again, very similar to that blue boost button. You're just trying to get the maximum amount of engagements on your post. So that's going to be things like shares, reactions, comments. And we run these almost all the time for the majority of our clients because, as we all know, it's important to keep Facebook engagement high on your page, because that's important to Facebook. If Facebook sees people interacting with your content, people are deeming it important. So Facebook says, okay, people want to see this information and they're going to share more of your information. So keeping engagement high is crucial to keep your organic reach high as well. And then in addition to engagement ads, you also have page likes, which are literally just getting more people to like your page. And then the hopes is that if your engagement is high and you get more people to like your page, they're going to start seeing your content organically more often. And then the third engagement option are event responses, which again are working on Facebook events. So if you've created Facebook events for something you have going on and you want to get people to RSVP and see that event, you can use the event response ads.
Yeah, the two things I was doing wrong was I was just thinking, all right, well, I'm just going to hit the boost button because that's obviously what you do, just not knowing the full throttle power here. And then, as you said, it works and all that. But and for me, the other thing I did wrong was by virtue of what you just said, there was no strategy behind what I was doing. So all I was really getting from my ads were likes on the post I was boosting, and as you said, that's not a bad thing. Facebook likes to see engagement, and the more engagement on your content, the more likely it's going to naturally show up on someone's feed. That's really important. But I wanted more action. I wanted people to buy things. I wanted them to make donations to our foundation. I wanted them to go to the website and take real action. And unless you're fully utilizing these advertising tools, you're not going to get that. But it's not hard. You just have to know that it's available and understand the tools that are available to you, and you can do a lot of amazing things with it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's the important part about having that strategy in place first. That's what's going to allow you to know which of these ad types that you want to do. And it is going to make your ads more effective because, yes, engagement's important. And like I said, for most of our clients, the majority of the time we are running engagement ads, but we're also coupling that with other ads at the same time based on, like you said, wanting to get traffic to your website, wanting to get people to make donations or make a purchase. Those are all things that we're trying to do. So coupling all those ads together and having different ones running throughout, the month or the quarter can help you achieve all of those goals kind of at the same time.
See, that's the other thing I didn't do is I always thought, well, I'm going to run one ad at a time. Because my simple mind, that was all I thought was I should do and all that. But part of the strategy thing again is that all this stuff interacts and works together. And when you're building awareness here, it's generating interest to take other actions. And then boom, if you serve it up through a paid advertisement and give the person the opportunity to take that action. I mean, so you can run concurrent stuff. In fact, you're probably advised to do that, right?
Yeah, it depends. You definitely can run concurrent stuff. The biggest thing that someone from Facebook, actually, I had an opportunity to talk to someone, a marketing expert at Facebook, and they said the biggest thing to think about is your actual audience. And we're going to go through audiences specifically. If all of your ads are targeting the exact same audience parameters and you're running ads concurrently, like directly at the exact same time, you're actually going to be competing against each other. If your goals are the same and your audiences are the same, your ads are going to be competing against each other. So if your audiences are varied for different reasons, you definitely can run them concurrently. Or if you've got, very different goals that you're working on. So we stagger a lot of them. We do most of our advertising strategy on a monthly basis and we start over at the beginning of every month, unless it's like a big quarterly campaign or promotion or something like that. Then it'll obviously, run for a lot longer. But especially with most of our clients being in home building, things change so fast that we're constantly changing our ad strategy and what ads we're running. So they're running concurrently through all within 1 month, but we are kind of staggering the dates and times they actually run based on the audience parameters that we're using.
Yeah. So as you said, you got to have a strategy.
That's right. Strategy is important. And that's why it's important, like you said. Yeah, to know what is available to you, because without knowing, how can you really create an effective ad strategy? All right, so there's just a few other types of ads that you can run. We talked about engagement, awareness, and conversions so far. So if you have an awesome video and you want to get lots of eyes on your video, there's video view ads. There are lead ads. If you want to really start collecting leads, maybe you don't have a professional website that helps you collect leads and puts it directly into CRM or something like that. You can get leads on Facebook if you want to. There's message ads that are designed to start conversations with people online, and you can do that through Facebook Messenger, Instagram Direct, or even WhatsApp. You can pair your Facebook with WhatsApp if you utilize that service. And then finally, the last group of ads that Facebook offers are conversion ads. And these are the ones designed with retail in mind. So there's 3 types of conversion ads. Conversions, which is just going to show your ad to people who are most likely to take valuable actions, which you can kind of set making a purchase, adding payment info on your website or adding something to a cart. Then you have catalog sales ads, which are going to show people actual items they can purchase if you have like an online or digital catalog. And then the last one are store traffic ads. So those ads are going to show people your ad when they are most likely to visit your physical location, when they are actually like in an area nearby, in a geographic range that's close by, and it would be, feasible that they would drive over to your store and purchase something right then. All right, so those are all the different ad types that you can set up based on your goals and your strategy. But the next biggest thing, obviously, that most people are going to be thinking about is budget. Budget is a key component of, your strategy, your marketing spend in general. So probably my biggest advice or thing to think about when you were creating your ad strategy and your budget is that in our experience from spending lots and lots of ad dollars for our clients over the years, the more you are asking for with your ads, the more expensive they are going to be. So in your planning your spend, it's really important to recognize that an ad like an engagement ad, where you're just asking somebody to like a post or share it or comment on it, like something simple, you're really not asking a lot for the consumer. So those are generally going to be inexpensive in terms of cost per result, 10, 15 cents per engagement. But then by contrast, ads that are going to require a lot from a consumer, like a lead ad, for instance, where you're asking someone to share their personal information with you, knowing that you're probably going to start calling them or put them on an email list. That's asking a lot from a consumer. They're going to need to be a lot more invested and interested to take that action on a lead ad. So those are generally going to be more expensive. You're going to pay, several dollars even potentially per lead versus, something again, that's where a like doesn't ask them really to do much of anything that they're not already doing on Facebook. So other things that are going to affect your ad spend or your cost per result is going to be your audience parameters, how narrow or wide they are. But generally speaking, it's important to just kind of remember the cost per result and how that's going to work. Because, if your ad budget is small, especially if you're going to spend, maybe just $100 a month on advertising, if that, you really have to think, is $100 worth of lead ads that's maybe only going to get me a handful of leads, is that worth it? Is that the best way to spend my budget? Or would it be more efficient for me to spend the majority of that budget just on growing my brand awareness and then use another form of advertising or really have a really effective website and call to actions on your website that'll get people to fill out those leads once they get there versus trying to do them on Facebook. So thinking through that, and again, knowing what your ad strategy is and what those goals are that you really want to achieve from your ads is going to help determine, the best ad type to use and where you're going to put your budget.
A few thoughts on budgeting on this. I think people need to understand. I mean, in all my years in helping people with their marketing, you run across a lot of people who are just nervous about spending money on virtually anything, but they're just tight with their spends.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important to understand that Facebook is really good at this. And it opens up a whole nother discussion of how they're so good at this in terms of how they collect all this data, but they've collected and it's there and they use it and it's all for the power of this paid advertising. I mean, this is how they make their money. So they have to be good at it because they want you to keep doing it. Right. So yeah, one is don't be chintzy here. I mean, because if you apply the lessons that you've talked about and you really have a strategic goal here and you know what you're trying to receive, if you do it right, this can be very effective, very, very powerful. And it's not that expensive. I mean, I could list with you dozens of far more expensive strategies to spend your marketing dollars on than Facebook advertising. Mm-hmm. And I think my final point is everything you're going to talk about today through the duration of this conversation, particularly how you work on cultivating and creating your audiences, and there's a lot to talk about there, will make your investment far more beneficial. So don't just hit the blue button like I do, because then you get much for it. But if you go through these steps that you're talking about today and you apply it to your strategy and your long-term plan, and you really think a lot of these things through, and then at the end you're going to talk about how to actually create an ad. The more careful you are at creating that thing the right way and then using these tools, then you're really going to get a great return on your investment.
Yeah, absolutely. Facebook is smart, like you said. It really is. It has a lot of information and data and things like that available to it that you have the power to utilize. And again, like you said as well, when you look at the various forms of traditional advertising, Facebook is cheap. Facebook is really cheap. When you think about, billboards and print ads and the thousands and thousands of dollars that they cost. I mean, we have clients, professional businesses that spend $250 a month on Facebook advertising. And I mean, we're not driving 100,000 people per month to their website, but it's effective for their business. And that's a very small amount of money to be getting the traffic and the engagement and things like that they get on Facebook. So you really don't have to break the bank to be effective with Facebook advertising. You can certainly see fantastic results if you have $5,000 a month or more to spend on Facebook, but it's not necessary to be successful. I mean, we do have lots of clients who do have smaller budgets that, when you know what you're doing and when you have that strategy in place and you set everything up correctly ahead of time and think through all of that, you really can see a return on those ads that makes it worthwhile, even with a small budget. All right. So we've talked about budget and cost. And so we're going to kind of dive into um, some of the little, I guess, more nitty gritty technical details here. We're actually going to get into how to start creating your audiences. Um, that is the audience targeting is a really, really crucial piece of the puzzle that you have to have set up and set it up correctly and really think through to make those ads really effective, especially with all of the upcoming or the currently happening changes with the new iOS and everything like that. It's important, I think, to focus on your audience. So before we get into the specifics of actually how to set up your audiences, there's a couple of things to touch on. And this is really important for us in particular because we work with so many people in the housing industry. So a few years ago, Facebook created these special ad categories for anybody running ads related to housing, credit, job opportunities, or politics. And they were created to better enforce Facebook's policies that prevent discriminatory advertising because before these existed, it was up to every single individual person who was creating ads on Facebook to know those policies and abide by them. And I would venture to bet that most people didn't know and or didn't care or didn't abide by them.
Right.
So now, whenever you create an ad that has anything to do with any of these categories, you have to select this special ad category option. Or Facebook is going to their algorithm. They've got lots of keywords and different things that they're looking for when they're approving your ads. And if they see certain verbiage or language in your ads or even in your creative that kind of triggers this special ad category, your ads are going to get denied. They're not going to run. And if that happens enough times, you could very well end up in Facebook jail, which is not a pleasant place to be because it's not easy to get out of it. So knowing what you're going to be talking about in your ads and the industry that you're in, that's probably one of the biggest questions that we get from clients that are trying to set up their ads themselves, especially our ones in the home building industry. They run, they hit the blue boost button or do something and their ads don't work. Their ads keep failing and they don't know why they won't run. And it's because of this single little thing that you have to toggle and select. So again, this ad category really just prevents us from being able to use those specific parameters in our audience targeting that are not allowed. So again, for housing, for instance, things like income and age, anything that's protected under fair housing, you can no longer target. So the good side is that our ads are now complying with both Facebook's policies and fair housing or whatever, kind of governing body rules these industries. But the downside is that we are more limited in our targeting capabilities than we used to be since we can't target based on those things. But thankfully, there are some workarounds or some things that Facebook, some tools that Facebook gives us to help combat these restrictions. So the first thing is the Facebook Pixel. Again, we're getting into kind of the nitty gritty here, but understanding these things and setting them up ahead of time before you start advertising is really key. And the Pixel in particular, everybody should be using. It does not matter whether...
I've never heard of the Pixel. So this is fascinating stuff. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to learning what this is all about.
Yeah, the Pixel is amazing. I don't understand the details because it's code and that's not my wheelhouse. But everybody should be using the Pixel, regardless of what industry you're in or whether you have to use that special ad category. So to find out if you have a Pixel or to set yours up, if you don't, you'll go to your Facebook Business Manager. And this is where it's crucial to have your business page set up correctly in a Business Manager so that you have access to all of this. So under Business Manager, there's an Events Manager section. And then under Data Sources, it's going to show you all of the sources that you're using to gather audience data from. So if you don't have a Pixel set up yet, there's going to be nothing there. So you're going to want to select Connect New Data Source, choose your website, and then Facebook gives you step-by-step instructions. They do make it really easy to set up your Pixel. Or if you're like me, again, and know nothing about web development, coding, or any of that, there's a little button that you can email those instructions directly over to your web developer so you don't have to do it, which is what I do every time. So, but the Pixel, it's basically a bit of code, like I said, that you add to your website. It's going to allow you to track what people are doing on your website, and it's going to gather audience data about them. So that's obviously oversimplified explanation of what it is, but it's really all that you need to know and to understand what it's doing. And And you don't have to understand the intricacies on the technical side to know that it does work and it's really important. So you can see here for this client that we have a pixel set up on their website. So it's tracking every time someone visits the website or submits a lead. So we can use that data for different purposes when we are setting up ads in the future. So once you have your pixel set up and it starts tracking your web visitors and gathering data, you're going to be able to use all that data to create specific audiences that you want to target when you're running your Facebook ads.
All right. Well, I agree with you now that I better understand it, that you've got to do this. This is feeding more critical data into this, your ability to, we talk about targeting and creating these audiences. This is how you can really maximize the potential there.
Right.
Particularly if you have to use one of those special ad categories that does somewhat limit you, which is for your protection and protection of the audience. So don't be frustrated by that. It's a good thing. Everyone, there are those that are afraid of Facebook's too powerful. That's just how they're kind of working through that.
Exactly. And that's why they created those.
Yeah, yeah. And the Pixel isn't a spy device. Don't freak out about what that's about. That's just a piece of code that's feeding some key data that all it does is it helps you just really hone your targeting, which is how this is going to work and why you're going to get great returns and maximize that investment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, basically the pixel, like when you Google something, when you look something up, or when you go on a website and think about buying something, and then you start seeing those ads everywhere on other websites, on Facebook, on, if you stream and you get ads for that particular thing on your, Hulu or commercials or anything like that. Something like the pixel is what is allowing that to happen. And basically if you have internet, something's tracking your data. It's not, I don't think it's something to be scared of. It's good to be aware of it and to know that's what's happening, but it's an amazing tool that's available to us as advertisers and marketers. And if you use it correctly, like you said, it's powerful and it gives you a lot of ability to really be specific with who you're targeting and making sure you're getting your message, your news, your whatever out there to the people that are going to be most likely to, do business with you, buy from you, or whatever the case may be.
If you care about marketing, if you care about selling something, you have to embrace this technology. This is the modern way of connecting to people and finding prospects. I mean, this is how you do it. This is how it's got to be done. I didn't know Facebook made this available. So if you learn nothing else from this conversation today, tapping into the power of this pixel is worth it.
It's huge. It's huge. And as we talk about creating the different audiences, which is the next the next portion of our conversation, you'll understand why. You'll see where, the why that information is important to have the data on the people that are visiting your website. Because if somebody's visiting your website, they're interested. So why would we not want to continue to show our ads to those people, or to find more people that have similar behaviors and interests online? Those are the people probably most likely that you're, to do business with you. And those are the people that we want our ads being shown to.
Yep.
All right. So like I said, we're going to dive right into actually talking about creating your audiences. And again, this is getting a little more technical. But Facebook does make it super easy to create and save a variety of your audience types. And again, another really big piece of advice, if you can take something away from this, is set up your audiences beforehand. Take an hour or two, take the time to do this and do it correctly the first time. This is going to allow you to speed up the ad creation process in the future. Every ad that you create moving forward, you'll be able to use this audience data that you've already created. If you don't take the time to do this, every single time you create an ad, you're going to have to create a new audience.
And that's a pain.
It's a pain. It's super time consuming. Yep, exactly right. And you're never going to, remember to target the exact right things. And there's going to be things that the specific like retargeting and things that we're about to talk about that you're not really going to be able to do at the ad level. You've got to do it here at the beginning. So again, take the time, sit down and really think through these different audiences that you can have and create them. And it's going to take a little bit of time. It can take 24 to 48 hours for Facebook to learn and find and match and correlate all this data with the people that are on Facebook. So giving time, for that to happen as well will help your ads, start off more effective too. So Within Ads Manager, which you'll have if you, again, have a Facebook Business Manager, there is an Ads Manager section. And then within Ads Manager, there's going to be an Audiences section. And this is where you're going to create and store all of your different audiences. They'll be in there for you to edit, remove, update, anything down the road as things for your business may change. So there's 3 different types we're going to go over. The very first one is the most general audience. It's called your saved audience. So this is going to let you create an audience based on location, geographic location, and then interest. Those are your 2 big things you can target if you're having to use a special ad category. If you're not using a special ad category, if your business doesn't fall in any of those core industries, you can also target things like age, gender, language, behaviors, interest, there's lots of additional demographics available to you. So you'll see for this builder, we have an audience created for its Philadelphia division. That's one of the markets that they build in. So we've created this general Philly audience. We've gone in and targeted the, geographically all the areas. And then, if you could scroll down on my page, you would see that there are lots of different interests like, mortgage loans, Zillow, Trulia. We selected all these things that someone who was interested in buying a new home would be showing interest in online. And then in addition to this Philly audience, we have 2 other geographic-based audiences for this builder, one for each of their other divisions. So we've got 3 different geographical locations. So if I'm, talking about a community in one area, I only want to target this one division. I don't want to target everywhere they build across 3 states. But then I do have a 4th audience set up, and it does combine all those geographical locations into one big audience, because then I can use that audience for just general branding. When we want to get the message out there to everybody, I can just use that one big audience and target, everybody in all of those different areas that they build. So once you've created your general saved audience, or as many different ones as you need based on where all you're going to do business, you're going to save them. And then as we go through the actual ad creation process, you'll be able to select them at that point so that you'll be able to automatically fill in all this information, and you won't have to do it by hand every single time you create an ad. And then our second ad type are custom audiences. So your custom audiences, they're going to be made up of people that you've already connected with or engaged with in some way. So you've probably heard the term retargeting. Your custom audiences are going to be the people that you are retargeting. So anytime I create a new custom audience, when I name it, I always put retargeting in parentheses next to the name. So I remember custom audiences are the people we are retargeting that already know who we are. They've already been to our website or seen our Facebook or Instagram or something like that. So on that note, you can create custom audiences using data from a variety of sources. You can use your website, which that data is going to come from your pixel that you've hopefully set up by now. You can use data from your actual Facebook page, your business page, your Instagram account. You can upload customer list that you pull out of your CRM or your email marketing system. And then you can retarget any of those people. So you can see for us at Denim, we've created a custom audience list in Facebook that includes the people that have engaged with our Facebook page or our Instagram. We actually exported our contact list out of MailChimp and added it up here, or added it in here. And Facebook's going to match all those people up based on some sort of contact information that we have in MailChimp, usually their email address. If Facebook can match that email address to a person, it's going to put them in this list. And then, of course, we have our custom audience that we are retargeting anyone who has visited our website during the last 180 days. And again, that's using our pixel. So you have lots of options available to you to retarget people. So again, this is going to be really good. Like I mentioned at the very beginning, if you want to target people that already know who you are, and that maybe you want them to come back and make a second purchase, or, again, for our home builder clients, we want to stay in the consideration process because we all know people shop for homes for a really long time online before they finally make that decision. So we constantly want to keep our builders' names in front of people that have already been to the website until they make that decision. So retargeting is a super, super useful tool to help find those customers that are engaged with your business or interested in some way.
Old marketers like me 15 years ago used to say, oh, if there was only an inexpensive tool that we could use where we could actually fine tune our targeting and get people that are actually interested in what we have to sell, wouldn't that be amazing? Well, here it is. This is it.
Right here.
This is
Yeah.
it. And to emphasize the point again on the Pixel, I mean, that custom audience building is going to be triply powerful for you if you have that code that Pixel put on your website. So can't
Right.
emphasize that enough.
Right. Because again, we don't want those people to come to our website one time and then forget about us or never come back. And so being able to retarget those people is really crucial. And the Pixel is the way you do it for the people that have visited your website. So
It just makes Facebook's tools even more effective.
That's right. Yeah. And ultimately makes your advertising more effective, makes your spend more effective, which is
What it's all about.
why we're doing this. That's what
Yep.
we want, right?
Right.
So, all right, the last and final audience that we are going to talk about, there's actually kind of two different versions. And again, it goes back to that special ad category. So this is a lookalike audience or a special ad audience. Again, if you're using the special ad category. And this does exactly what it sounds like. It creates audiences that look like your customers that already exist or the audiences that you already have in terms of their online behavior. So the special ad audience is essentially the same thing, but it's going to remove those, interests or demographics, things that we're not supposed to target based on the different industries. It automatically takes them out, so you don't have to worry about doing that on your own. So to create this type of audience, you first have to select the source that you want your data to come from. So just like with the custom audience for retargeting, you can create a new audience that looks like the people that have visited your website over the last however long, 6 months, year, whatever information, data you put in there. You can create a new audience who looks like the people who follow you on Facebook or who looks like the people who have engaged with your posts most recently on Instagram. So you're using that data that Facebook already has about you and your customers, or that your Pixel is already sending, and you're creating an audience who is different. They're, completely different group of people, but they match a similar online behaviors and interests as, your more important customers or consumers based on all of the other data that you already have.
Still questioning why you should invest in Facebook advertising. This is another big one. I mean, they'll do this work for you. They'll find people similar to your current profile and find them for you. I mean, it's amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? I mean, it's amazing what is available to you. So to create your special ad audience, you're going to select your data source. Again, any one of those things that we just talked about. Then you'll select the country that you're in. At this level, you can only get as small as the country, but when you pair those general audiences, the saved audiences that we created at the beginning, when you pair them together and kind of stack them on top of each other, you're narrowing your location way down. And then you're going to select your audience size. So a 1% match is going to be the people that most closely align with your current followers or web visitors or wherever you're pulling your data from. But it's going to be a much smaller audience because it's a very, very specific targeted match. Then if you look at the other end of the spectrum, that 10%, you're going to have a much bigger audience. It's going to be the top 10% of people that most match, but it's going to be less specific than that 1%. So you're going to get a bigger group of people, a little less targeted. So generally for us, we recommend somewhere in like the 3 to 4% range is kind of the sweet spot where it's not giving you, 10 or 20 million options, but it's giving you enough that your ad is going to be effective and your ad spend's not going to be astronomical. So again, for this builder, you can see we have 3 different lookalike audiences set up. Each one, just from these very general parameters, have between like 6 and 7 million potential people that they can reach. And again, when you create your ad and you couple or you stack those other audience types on top of it, you're going to continue narrowing that down to find, the most relevant people for your ad in the location, matching the interests and all of those things that we've already set up. All right. So now we have gone through most of the nitty-gritty stuff, the technical details that you need to focus on before you get started. So it's time to get to the fun stuff, the actual ad creation. We get to, build our ads and start seeing them work now. So when you get ready to create your first ad, or any ad really, the first thing you're going to do every single time is select the ad type or the objective of your ad. Those were the very first things we went over. What do you want your ad to do? What's the goal? And then you're going to name your campaign. And then the very next thing that you will do is select that special ad category if it applies to you. You'll have to hit that little toggle button to turn it on and then select check which of those 4 categories is relevant to your industry if it is. If you don't do that, again, you'll wind up in Facebook jail eventually. So that's a really important thing to make sure you look for it and check it every single time if it applies to you and your business. All right. So as you go through the ad creation process, Facebook does walk you pretty much step by step through how to create an ad and what to do. So as you go through that process, the very next option that you're going to see, another, I think, a little toggle thing that you can turn on and off, is the A/B test. So a test campaign literally lets you pick from quite a few different variables, such as like your ad creative, your imagery and your text, your audience, your ad placement. You can choose to test those against each other to determine what performs the best. So we do these pretty often with new clients or clients that have never done advertising before and they're ready to start. And it just kind of gives us a ballpark to determine, what types of photos or creatives are going to most resonate with their audience. What places online is their audience most likely to engage with the ads that we're running, or one of several other variables that are available. So for an example, for this particular client, you see that we set up a test here. We have an A and a B set. B set was declared the winner because it resulted in more link clicks and a lower cost per result. But for this particular test, the audience was our variable. So everything else that we did remained exactly the same within the ad itself. The only thing that changed was the audience that we were targeting. So we had 2 different sets of audience data that we had created, and we compared them to each other to see which one was most effective for this particular type of ad. And so for this one, in this instance, while ad set B was the winner, they both performed really well. We're talking a penny difference in terms of the cost per result. So I'd be comfortable using either audience set, depending on what my ad goal is and who I'm trying to target. They're both effective. So this was a nice confirmation that what we were doing was working. Everything's good. But on the contrary, tests can show you that one option really, really works or resonates well with your audience based on whatever your variable is, while one really doesn't. So maybe we need to rethink, what it is that's not working there for that ad. Is it the wrong creative for your specific target audience? Is there a disconnect there? Or, are we running that ad on platforms where our particular audience maybe isn't? So those are good things to think about when you have a test that doesn't perform well. When you have one clear winner and one thing that is a clear loser, why is that not effective? So again, those are just really nice to do when you're trying something new or when you're starting an ad strategy for the first time and you really want to see what works.
It's foolish to ignore this function. It is, in the olden days, you used to pay a lot of money to test your different types of messaging and ads and all that. And this is, don't be like me and think, oh, this is just extra work to have to do all this, and I'm just going to click through that and skip it. Don't. It's so powerful, and it really does. It does what you suggested. It will confirm that what you're doing is working, or it's going to clearly show what's not working. And so then going forward, you won't employ that strategy, and it will just maximize your investment even more. So don't miss the opportunity to take advantage of A/B testing. It's such a powerful tool.
Right, because nobody wants to waste money.
Right.
And this is a really, really easy way to make sure that you're not, for a year running an ad type or an ad creative or something that just doesn't resonate with your audience, and you're getting results that are maybe okay, but you don't know how much better they could be if you were running, in the right place or with the right creative or, with the right targeting parameters that really would work even better. So I definitely think running A/B test is something that you should do every now and then to either get a confirmation that what you're doing is correct or to figure out, what tweaks could you be making to even get a better return.
Yep, no doubt.
Yep. All right. So diving right back into the ad creation process, this very next option that you're going to get as you go through is called dynamic creative. So when you're creating an ad that's not a test, so just a general ad, Dynamic Creative is one of my favorite tools to use because, as we kind of have touched on a few times, Facebook is smart. It's able to learn things. It's got a lot of AI and different things going on. And it will do the work for us if we let it. So basically what Dynamic Creative is it lets you upload multiple different images or videos, different creative options, and multiple different text options within one ad. And you load everything individually. And then Facebook is going to use all of those different creative elements that you give it to generate a whole bunch of different ad variations for your audience, for your ad. And it's going to display those ad variations as it's in the learning phase of your ad. And as it does, it's going to learn which ones are most effective and which ones are the least effective. And so as it learns, it's going to remove the variations that are not effective from the rotation and only focus on the ones that are performing well. So again, it's helping to ensure you're getting the best bang for your buck.
I'm embarrassed to admit, Courtney, that I didn't know this existed. I mean, how amazing is this functionality? I mean, it's blowing my mind. I mean, I wish I had been familiar with this.
Yeah, this, like I said, this is one of my favorite things to do. I think it's a really cool feature that Facebook allows and offers. Because again, Facebook is smarter than we are.
Well, they are. And Facebook wants your advertising to work. Mm-hmm. They really want your advertising to yield dividends for you because they want you to keep investing and keep doing paid advertising. So it's in their interest to make your ads really pop and really generate the kind of results you want. And so this Dynamic Creative is, I mean, they're a business. They want more advertising from you, but you're not going to advertise if it's not working for you. So what a great function that kind of help make this stuff really pop. I mean, it's just amazing stuff.
Yeah, because you're exactly right. I mean, it has to be a mutually beneficial relationship for you and Facebook because it is it's the reason why Facebook is so powerful and so worth so much money. I mean, the advertising aspect is huge. I mean, the numbers are staggering what people spend on Facebook. But again, going back to looking at the traditional forms of advertising, it's so inexpensive. So why would Facebook make it not beneficial to you as the advertiser? Because again, they want you to keep coming back. Just like you want people to keep coming and shopping, with you and spending money with you, they want the same thing. So they're going to make it worth your while. And I mean, they've got some, as much as a bad rap, I guess as Facebook gets sometimes, especially related to the data and the privacy and all of that. On our side, on the marketing side, it is a super powerful tool. And again, like I said, Facebook is smart. Let it do what it does best. Let it learn. Let it do all of this for you.
Yep. Amazing.
All right. So if you choose to do Dynamic Creative as your ad type, again, you are going to add a bunch of different images and a variety of text options to your ad. So you can see that we've done this for this client. We've added about 7 different images in there, different warmer, more farmhouse, different types to see what type of imagery, what type of home is going to most resonate with their audience. And then we've added a bunch of different text options. We've done like some feel good stuff. We've done some really direct stuff. We've done some longer captions, some shorter captions. And then Facebook is going to mix and match all of these different elements into various ads until it figures out which of these ads your audience is going to respond to the most. And then that's where the majority of its money is going to go. So for these particular ads, you are going to run them a little bit longer than what we run the majority of our ads because it has got to get through that learning phase for then it to be really effective.
How long do you recommend?
It really varies based on your budget, honestly. But I mean, you're going to want to give this one, probably I would think at least a week to run, just to really get through that learning phase and then start being effective.
Yep. Makes sense.
All right. So the next part of the ad creation process is going to be specifying your budget and your audience. So you're going to have 2 options for your budget. You can either give the entire ad a lifetime budget, which is the maximum amount it's going to spend for the duration of your campaign, and it will kind of choose how and when to divvy that up. Or you can set up a daily budget, and it's going to spend that dollar amount per day for the duration of your ad campaign. So me personally, I generally always do a lifetime budget because that is how we set up our ad budgets individually for our clients. And then you don't have to do any math. You don't have to figure it out too, which is a benefit for me. That's why I'm in marketing. I don't like math. So, but you can do either option based on the type of ad or your goals or how much control you want to have over it. Again, I like to let Facebook do its job to learn and to be effective. So I generally try to take a step back and let Facebook have a little bit more of the control.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like the lifetime kind of removes the shackles and lets the algorithm do its thing.
Exactly right. Like we said, the algorithm is smart. Let the algorithm work. That is what makes Facebook so powerful and so unique. So after you decide what your budget is going to be and set that up in the duration that your ad is going to run, you are going to specify your audiences that you're targeting. So this is where you're going to choose from all of those audiences that we created. So you're first going to start with your general or saved audiences, those ones that we did based on location and interest and other demographics, if that's open to you. So you're going to choose that one first. You can only choose one of those. Choose one first. Then you can choose from under your custom audiences section all of your lookalike or special ad audiences, and then your custom audiences, which are your retargeting audiences. And you compile as many of those into one ad as you want to, and it will target each one of those groups. And so you can see here too, this is one little just important handy tool that Facebook gives you. As you're creating this section of your ad, your budget, and your audience, on the right-hand sidebar of your screen, you're going to see this little chart here that just popped up on the screen. And as you define your audience, and put in that budget and the time frame, that little bar and all of those numbers are going to change. Facebook is giving you these handy little estimates. And again, they are just estimates. They're not guarantees of anything, but it's helpful to watch those change as you add or remove parameters in your budget, your time frame, and your audience to kind of see how what you're doing is going to affect the results that you're projected to get. So it's just a nice little, again, another little confirmation thing that says, oh, your audience is good, or you're too broad, you're too narrow. It's nice to have those things that show you that, okay, what you're doing is in the good range. You're going to get some good results. You're targeting a good amount of people, so we're good here. And then, of course, if you're in the, kind of negative areas, you can think through then, well, what do I need to do to get over into the green or to get my reach or views up a little bit higher? All right. So the very last step is to create the actual ad, the ad creative. So we've kind of already reviewed how to create an ad if you choose to use dynamic creative as your option or the A/B test. But there are lots of other options available to you depending on the type of ad that you're doing. So we're just going to go over, in the interest of time, 3 of the most common ones that we use. So the first one is just going to be your standard single image ads. What I like about these is that you can edit or design for each place that it appears online. So for example, for this client, you can see on the left-hand side, we've got just the basic ad that's going to show up in like your news feed. That one, your desktop, your mobile version, however, wherever it's going to appear. And then the right side, we've got the version that's going to show up on stories on Instagram or Facebook stories using this nice full screen ad. It's got the nice swipe up call to action there. So if you have, just a very simple ad, one URL that you want to link to, and a really, really nice imagery or call outs, this is great because, again, you can get very specific with how the ad looks across every device and make sure that it is formatted for each and every placement to be as effective as possible. And then besides the single image ads, the next one that we probably use most commonly is going to be the carousel ads. And this allows you to have a group of images that you can swipe through on your phone. But what's really cool is that each image can have its own caption telling a little bit about what it is. And each image can link to its own specific URL. So this is really effective and really nice to use if you have something like, for instance, for our builder clients, if they have multiple quick delivery homes in one community and they want to link directly to each one. or maybe they have multiple communities in one, geographic area, and they want to give a little bit of information about each community and give a swipe to each individual community versus having just people go to one landing page and then find the community that they may be interested in. Or, for retail, if you're in retail, you can put multiple different products and link directly to each product with this carousel ad. So again, this is really cool. If you want to link to multiple places and send consumers directly to whatever you're talking about versus them having to go to just one general landing page and then maybe find what they're looking for from there. And last but not least, the third type of ad is a collection ad, which is a pretty cool, unique experience specifically for mobile. This one only is going to show to users on mobile. It's not going to be something that ever shows up on like Facebook desktop or anything like that. Only going to be on your phone. So you get to use lots and lots of imagery in this ad too, which is really great if you have beautiful photography or imagery of your products. You're going to be able to put all of those photos in there, and consumers, when they're on their phone looking at this ad, it's a continuous swipe up process. It's almost like a never ending swipe. And what the consumer maybe they do, maybe they don't, hopefully they don't really realize as they're swiping up, they've swiped right onto your website. So there's not that feeling that they're like having to click a button to click off of Facebook to go to your website. They're just scrolling through your ad, and then all of a sudden they are on your website. Wow. So that's a really cool tool to get people directly to your website without ever having to leave the Facebook platform. And then the hope is that once they're there, they'll be interested. They'll continue to go to your website. They'll spend time on it and browse. Maybe they'll, click to open it in Safari so that they've got the page kind of saved and bookmarked for later. So there's lots of cool uses for this ad that we really like. All right. So that really concludes our Facebook advertising kind of crash course in how to set up effective Facebook ads. So hopefully you've gained, enough knowledge to really set up a successful Facebook and Instagram advertising strategy, which, we think is a really, really crucial component in this day and age to a well-rounded marketing program.
So now I feel like even a bigger goober head that I would just hit the boost button.
Don't feel bad.
When you realize all the power and the tools, the precision tools that you can access for free. Mm-hmm. It's amazing stuff. Thank you for going through all this. If you don't mind, Courtney, if you could pop up that slide one last time, that final slide. This is where people can go to connect with you should they have any questions on any of this. Yes?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You can visit our website or find us on social media. We are Denim Marketing. And then my email, Courtney@denimmarketing.com, and our office phone number as well, 770-383-3360.
All right. Well, Courtney, thanks again for all this wonderful information. Appreciate the time.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you for hanging out with me today.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that wraps this marketing thread. On behalf of my co-host, Courtney Stewart, I am Todd Schnick. We'll see you again soon on the Marketing Thread.